So we come to them with solutions as opposed to, here's our service. It's like we can predict what their problems are, and we have solutions for it. And I think that they really appreciate that.
This is the Pass the Pitch podcast with Anna Frazzetto. Each episode, we sit down with bold thinkers and industry trailblazers to uncover the strategies, stories, and sparks of inspiration that drive growth and transformation. Let's get started.
We are well into season 3, and I get to speak to Daniel Davenport today. So Daniel, welcome to the show. I'm just going to give a little bit of background as to who you are, but I love what you have on your LinkedIn About section. You talk about having extensive firsthand experience in the healthcare sector. You have navigated the intricacies and the challenges inherent to both hospital settings and clinician experiences. And actually, this journey fueled you to co-found Lucid Staffing Solutions, where your mission transcends traditional boundaries to set new quality benchmarks and secure industry-leading outcomes. I have to say, I had the opportunity to see you and your partner present at the Healthcare SIA conference last year, and your story is amazing and so inspiring. And I really appreciate all that both of you do and have done. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was great. Suzanne had really great things to say about you guys in the Global 150 meeting that you guys had in the showroom, wherever it was. So yeah, I'm excited to chat with you today.
Excellent. So why don't we just get started? I mean, leadership is always a topic that I love to talk about. And I typically ask the question, what's the best business decision you almost didn't make and what pushed you over the edge? I think this is a common problem that most people face where they're trying to figure out, do I need to pivot? Do I need to do something else? So share a little bit of your story.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different business decisions throughout the day. Like you don't really realize like just how many you have to make and kind of being responsible for all those choices. But I think for ourselves, it's like, when we first started, we were trying to do everything all at once. And I think we were just really trying to figure out, throwing mud at the wall and seeing what would stick and trying to figure out where we could grow. And we've done really well in allied health. And so it was kind of a business decision to stick with that and to go after allied strong and kind of not do as much nursing, which most staffing agencies, primarily do nursing. So I think us sticking to allied has really helped us grow.
Well, that's terrific. And of course, as you kind of go through this journey and you're dealing with salespeople, a common question is, what's an underrated skill or trait that more people in sales or even leadership should master? I have a laundry list, but go ahead, share.
Probably technology. Yeah, technology is such a huge piece of what we do nowadays. Every staffing agency has their own tech stack, but with AI and just all the different things that you could use to become more efficient, it's something that everyone should be able to know and use. There's so many different processes and steps in your day that you can improve or help automate to make you more efficient, more productive. So I think that anyone in their position should try to figure out how they can incorporate AI and tech into their day-to-day, because it's only going to make them better.
Oh, see, and Daniel, I love that response. I come from a tech background. That was where I started before I got into sales. And I have to say, I always rely on tech to, kind of make me better at what I do. But there is a fear out there as far as, using too much AI is not good. You lose authenticity or it doesn't necessarily give you all the right information. And I kind of dispel all those things because they're myths, quite frankly. And but increasing productivity, I think, is the key that you said. Definitely increase productivity. It would be foolish of us not to adapt and adopt technology.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that will like try to replace their employees with technology. I don't necessarily agree with that, like having pure AI recruiters or something like that. But you should definitely use it to enhance your staff and your employees. It should make them more efficient, enable them to handle their workload easier, more efficient, more time efficient. There's just so many different things you can do, and so many services that you can save money on spending by doing it in house. We're doing like a huge data transfer, and rather than, paying a company to do this data transfer, we can build our own AI agents to go through it and do that. So, um, and with sales, tech is a huge piece of that, putting together presentations, building AI agents to help you with RFPs, figuring out new ways to present your messaging and stuff like that. So there's just countless ways, marketing, emails. I mean, so many different things.
Right, right. I couldn't agree with you more. I think coupled with your own personal knowledge, right? I think that combination creates the best possible solution. So it's not 100% AI, it's married with what you know already, and then I think the best outcome comes from that.
Absolutely. It's riding that fine line. Yeah. I mean, you want to keep those relationships personal, definitely, especially with your clients and with your clinicians. But there are ways to build those relationships even stronger by using AI, like for recruiting, for example. It enables them to follow up with their clinicians more regularly. Something that might slip your mind, wishing them a happy birthday or telling them good luck on their first day, stuff like that, where you remember in the moment. And so you can kind of create a journey and a messaging journey to send that message and, remind yourself basically. So it actually helps you build better relationships.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about team motivation. And this is obviously always really important in running a business. But how do you keep your team motivated when results aren't coming as fast as expected? I find often with salespeople in particular, it's kind of hard to keep people motivated.
It's tough. Yeah. I mean, I think last year for the staffing industry was definitely, they called it a downturn. And so, the industry was kind of contracting. So I feel like for a lot of people, it was very slow. I think with your team, I think first of all, having a good culture is critical in your company. If you don't have good culture, I just, I can't imagine growing and being a large company without having excellent culture. And I think that's one of the things that I always hear these large company executives talking about, and so I've really grown to see how important that is. But having that culture, but also keeping your team engaged. Keeping them involved when things are going slow. Like if sales has been having a difficult time, getting a new client for new client acquisition, trying to keep them engaged, collaborating with them on new ideas, maybe that's a time to try new things or, kind of strengthen some of the things that you are doing. But for us, I like to really be transparent with what we're doing on the day to day, keep them involved that way, and just kind of motivate them with things that we're working on and what that's going to bring in the future. I think, you know, uh, keeping your team motivated is crucial even when it's slow. So, I like to just keep everyone involved.
Yeah, I mean, that's key. Honestly, I think during, difficult times or during a downturn, as you mentioned, over communicating is so important and so key, like staying in front of them. And also I think they'll respond to the energy that you bring to the table, right? Is so if you look worried and concerned as one of the leaders of the company, that's going to bring the entire, company down. So it's important to kind of keep that honest but upbeat, perspective on what's going on.
I agree. Yeah. Our team likes that. We're a close knit group of people. They like to know the ins and outs of the day, and I think that it gives them a more clear picture of what's going on, so they can understand what we're doing, and so that the team members can understand what everyone is doing. So, yeah, I think communication, transparency is really important for that.
Right, right. Okay, so now what's one mindset shift that unlocked new growth for you or your team?
I would have to say, when we first started, obviously we were a startup and we didn't have a lot of things. We were building a lot of processes, we were figuring a lot of things out. And, we had, I think at the time, maybe 8 or 9 employees. And we had, we had a recruiter that was coming to us with problems, and it was just problems. It wasn't solutions. And it was like every day, day after day after day after day. And I was like, okay, well, clearly we're working on these things. I can't fix them right this second, but rather than coming to me with these problems, can you come to me with some solutions? And so, if there is a problem, then you have an idea. We're a very collaborative team. You can tell me what your idea was, and we'll work on presenting it, or putting it together, implementing it. But just coming with problems is not very helpful. Like, I think that that was kind of like a big shift for our team members at the time. Is just like, okay, I can actually make a difference, and my thought is important, and I'm not just, but they're not just waiting on us to fix it. And they're like, okay, I can have a hand in this, and I can be involved in this. And so we've kind of like maintained that mindset as we've grown. Is, creating a collaborative environment, bring your solutions, and really just highlighting the people that do that stuff. But we have our morning meetings every day, and that's exactly the stuff that we talk about. We congratulate people on something that they've created or built, or an idea that they had. And it makes them feel comfortable to present those things. And it makes them feel valued and appreciated, which they are. So I think, kind of switching to that mindset of, instead of problems, let's come up with solutions, I think was a big change for us.
No, that's terrific. And it is a common problem, I think, when companies first start out, because you get so used to having your leaders, oh yeah, we'll do this, we'll fix this, and you, without knowing, you're enabling to the solution, but getting everybody to say, no, you're all part of it. What's the adage? I can teach you how to fish, or I can't provide you. I'm totally botching up the adage, but you know what I mean? Like, I can give you a fish every day, or I can teach you how to fish, and then you can, sustain yourself.
And it's like, look, we're not shy about the fact that we're a newer company, and our employees know that. They know that we're building something, but they know that we're building it together. We've been in the game for like 3.5 years now, and we're always growing. We're always getting better. But I think that they really appreciate the fact that they can see that, and they can see we're not just blowing smoke. They can see that we're trying new things, doing the things, and that they're involved in it, and that they are making a difference. I always tell them, like, when we talk with our clients, and we're trying to sell ourselves, and our service and our solutions, we're basically selling them. We're selling the work that they provide. And I think that when they see it like that, and they realize that, and then they can see it come to fruition, like, it makes them feel really good about the work that they do.
No, that's great. That's terrific. Okay, so tell me about a time when a seemingly small cultural detail made a big impact, either on a deal or a hire or a business decision.
I think for a business decision, we require that all of our recruiters and account managers are clinicians. So they have to have a clinical background, So all of our recruiters and account managers are either nurses, rad techs, or nurse practitioners. And so we kind of, I don't know if we made it right away, but as we grew, we knew that we only wanted to hire clinicians as recruiters. And then we decided that, okay, account managers as well. Um, uh, we see it as, like, as we scale, it's really important that we maintain our integrity, our clinician insight. The fact that we're clinician owned and operated, it really affects every decision that we make. And we try to think about that in every facet and every way possible, to provide better solutions for our clients. And so we made that decision, and we made that requirement, and our clients love it. Our clinicians love it, the travelers. And I just think it really brings everything together and makes everything more cohesive, as opposed to, a third party company that could be a staffing agency that's, kind of just a business. And we want to be more than just that. We want to be, really in tune with our clients and their needs, and the processes, and just their different services that they provide, and really have some insight to be a resource for them. So I think that for us is really important.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a unique selling point. I think that's absolute, brilliance by doing that. I mean, you accomplish so many different things, like the actual people that you put on billing, they can speak to people that really understand their language. They've lived it firsthand. Your clients that are looking for help, you can have that educated conversation and speak for firsthand because they've been there, done that also. So, I mean, that's a powerful statement for your company.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely love it. When we talk with them, it really just, they kinda drop their guards because, we tell them who we are, and they're like, "Oh, okay, so you get what I've gone through." Or they've worked with other staffing agencies and they worked with people who maybe didn't have that clinical background, didn't really understand their needs, and so we come to them with solutions as opposed to, "Here's our service." It's like we can predict what their problems are, and we have solutions for it, and I think that they really appreciate that.
Right, and one of the things that I always preach on the sales side is how do you become a trusted advisor to your client? And that's exactly what you've done, is you become a trusted advisor to your clients and prospects that become clients because they again, you can speak the language firsthand, been there, done that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I could give you countless scenarios of where our clients have really appreciated that. And there's just like a certain knowledge piece of there too, of relatability and knowledge about these positions and specialties. Healthcare is literally a second language, basically. You take courses just to learn the different verbiage and acronyms and the language of it all. So it's challenging. And so and it just adds like an additional I think, layer professionalism to those roles, to a recruiting and account management role where they're licensed, clinicians with, real world experience and stuff like that with patient experience. And so, yeah, I think it just really, again, brings everything together.
No, that's fantastic. Okay, so Daniel, now we're going to have a little bit of fun. I have a couple of rapid fire questions that I'm going to ask you, and let's see what you have to say. What is the weirdest email subject line you've ever received or sent?
For my email subject lines, I always try to be really unique when I send them because I don't want to look like it's marketing. So I try to say something unique. But as far as ones that I've received, I've had people who will email me and say, are you going to respond?" Like a cold email, and will just immediately block those people.
Right. That's not clearly not a way to win and influence people by saying, "Are you gonna respond?" Yeah, that's not good. Okay, if your sales pitch had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh, that's also a good question. My wife and I were listening to some classical music today and some Frank Sinatra, and maybe, I faced it was it called My Way? Where he
My
said,
way, yeah.
"Faced it all and I stood tall." Um, Maybe because, like, we kinda did things our way and a little bit unique in this industry, and we kinda stood on that, so maybe My Way by Frank Sinatra.
I That's a great song, and it's so funny because I probably wouldn't have picked that song, like, I wouldn't have thought that you would have picked that song, but it's so perfect because it really does fit your story, beautifully.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so if you had to give yourself a completely ridiculous job title based on what you actually do all day, what would it be?
Ah, that's also a good question. These are interesting. Okay, I would probably say chief visionary of relentless growth and idea guy. I feel like I'm kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none type thing where I have really good ideas and can implement them to an extent, and then maybe just utilize our team members to fully execute them. So yeah.
That's great. That's a great. Okay, if you had to describe your career as a type of food, what would it be and why?
Um Maybe like a sushi roll. It's like, you know, layered but, precise and elegant at the same time. Clean.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so I am going to share what I I'm Italian, as you know. So I picked lasagna.
Okay.
And the
Yeah,
reason I picked lasagna is for the multiple layers and so kind of similar in concept. So
I like
lasagna.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, if you had to close a deal, but the only way you can communicate is through emojis. What's your message?
Like, what would be the emoji symbol?
Yeah.
Ooh, probably like the handshake, green check mark, and the little graph that goes up like that,
Oh,
and maybe like a star or something like that, a shooting star.
yeah, those are all terrific. I had one person just say dollar signs. I was like, okay, well, that's a little too direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's fantastic. Well, listen, Daniel, this has been absolutely fantastic to have you, and look forward to talking to you again at some point in time, and wish you the best of success.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It's good to see you again, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you for listening to the Pass the Pitch podcast with Anna Frazzetto. Don't forget to subscribe and share. In our next episode, we talk to Ray Culver on keeping sales teams energized by celebrating small wins and moving forward as a team. See you then.